Hey Ethan, it's Papa. I am looking through your IEW right now. From now on, I want you to um, start the title of this document by putting the subject or what class. That way, it gets easier to find. As you write more and more documents, it's going to be really confusing and hard to find. So in this case, I want you to start off with IEW space dash space. Okay, and then you need to capitalize, and I think you need to spell this correctly. The first thing I notice is that this is not spelled right, and I see cook here and I see croak here. What's it going to be? So please correct that. Again, title this, please. Next, I notice I don't see any spaces in between this, and I'm not sure if you're allowed to do it this way, but I notice a dot M. I don't know if this is the right format. Please let me know. Let's see here. The croak and the croc. One day in the blazing sun of Egypt, all the animals were heading to the Nile River. Very clear, very good. The Nile River was the only source of life, but all the animals feared the mighty croc. Okay, so in this case, you're going to need to break this up because there are two directions in this sentence. The Nile River was the only source of life, comma, but all the animals feared the mighty croc. So why are the animals scared of, what is the relationship between the mighty croc and the Nile River? Is like the croc blocking the river, or the croc won't let them touch the river? Like what's it doesn't connect right now, if that makes sense. Okay? The croc was looking for something to devour because he was hungry. Then he spotted a tiny road. He grasped the toad by his claw and was about to devour it when the toad pleaded desperately. Okay? We went through this in Fix It. When you start a quoted sentence, you need to put a comma here, and this is a brand new sentence, right? So you need to start it with a capitalization. And let's see. Help me, yelled the mighty croc. Then, to Hugh's amusement, okay, so you'll need to break this up because you're explaining something right before you tell them something, right? So then, comma, to his amusement, comma, because you're describing something before you continue on, he actually released the afraid tiny toad and waddled off. So did the croc waddle off, or did the toad waddle off? Because it's not clear here. Okay, so to his amusement, he actually released the afraid tiny toad and waddled off. The toad had to make, well, maybe you're right. If it's the croc, this is fine. But if it's the toad, you'll need to say, and the toad waddled off. The toad had made a promise, so he will remember to keep his word. This doesn't make sense. The toad had made a promise, so he will remember. Will means it's going to happen in the future. The toad made a promise, that's in the past. The right way to do this one is the toad had made a promise to keep his word. That's it. You don't have to add these extra words. Okay? One day, comma, you need to put a comma here. The croc was moaning in the middle of the papyrus reeds. All the animals were too afraid to come closer, but the toad, okay, so you need to break this up too, because there are two different directions, right? All the animals were afraid to come closer, comma, but the toad found a chance to pay him back. But dare he should hop closer? So there are things here that you need to either eliminate, okay? Either you can say, but dare he hop closer, or but should he hop closer? So you need to either get rid of this, dare he, or get rid of should. Your choice, but you need to get rid of one because you're just double saying the same thing. Toad hurriedly hopped over to see what was the problem. He peered behind the reeds and found that the croc had a cracked tooth. Okay, so this should be a croak. So this needs to be croak, right? And capitalize that, remember. The toad silently, there's two spaces here. You need to fix that. The toad silently hopped toward the croc and whispered. Again, this is also what we learned in Fix It. Every time you start a new quote, you need to put comma here. And this is a sentence inside this quote, so you need to capitalize this. Open your mouth. And I won't even tell you what's wrong with this. You need to fix that. The croc obeyed. The toad lashed out his sticky tongue and pulled the tooth. I think it's more clear if you say, if he lashed out his sticky tongue and pulled the tooth out. After a while, the tooth was yanked out. Oh, actually, no, you're right. You're good. Because you explain later what happened. The croc was lucky to have a friend like Croak. So this looks like the proper name for the toad, so you'll need to change this, right? And okay, so actually there's an inconsistency here. Sometimes you capitalize it, sometimes you don't. So you'll need to look back through the text and find out whether it's capitalized or not, and then fix it. Okay? Thanks, bud.